and I have still got a big snafu with my jacket because the one I ordered is too small, but they don't have any mediums in stock. And so it was like, okay, clearly these are quints out of Morocco.
We're the Jonases. We're a family of 10 plus a few more. I'm the mom PJ with my husband Jim, our daughter Brett, our sons Coulter, Emery, Fletcher, Graydon, and Hewitt, and our daughters Indigo and Jade. We have our hands full with raising dairy goats on our farm, making goat milk soaps and other products from their milk, all while homeschooling and homesteading happily. We love our life and sharing how we live on the other side of the fence.
This is Owen.
Overcook it. I didn't overcook it that fast.
I with you.
Holidays are very important to us. And not even so much holidays, but chances to come together and celebrate and recognize different things. And so Easter was another opportunity for the family to come together and spend time together and build memories. And it was the first one where we had so many spouses involved. So it was a very, very different kind of feel to this Easter.
You want liverwurst? Michael, what are you doing? What are you eating? Are you allowed to eat that like that? Michael, what do you have? Is that Aunt Jade and Ashley and Indigo?
Yeah.
Michael has started seeing a first step speech therapist, which is awesome. She comes to the house and is working with him on, right now he's working on O sounds and P sounds, like the P in the end of cup. And he is making huge progress. Yesterday, he told me, "Daddy, weave?" Like he'd been saying "Daddy, leave" for weeks. So even though she hasn't necessarily been working with him on that, he is connecting words that he hasn't before, which is really exciting to see because he's able to communicate so much better now. And I can't wait to see how much he improves as we keep going with the speech therapy.
So Mom has this food that she loves that Dad hates.
He doesn't like it at all, but it's so good, and it's so good for you. And it's called
Liverwurst.
It's liverwurst, Braunschweiger, and it's awesome. It's so good. I don't care that there's liver in it. It doesn't taste like there's liver in it. It just is. It's good, meaty, spreadable goodness. And I always grew up, you know, you would have it on crackers, or you would have it on like a nice good bread with cheese and mayonnaise. My mom puts onions on it. I like onions, but I don't like onions on that.
I can do it on crackers. I'm not a fan of the bread one.
And it's awesome. And Jim hates it. And every time I get it, he just like rolls his eyes and looks at me.
My husband also thinks it's...
Mason thinks it's terrible and not worth eating. Landon wants nothing to do with liverwurst. Michael, he's my liverwurst boy.
He's obsessed with it. He'll just open the door to Nona's fridge, open the drawer, pull out the liverwurst, and I might have caught him just taking
Like a
bites
bite.
out of it the other day. We always cut it and put it on bread or a cracker. Michael just like
He loves it. It's like his favorite thing to eat. So, you know, Landon will go in and get cheese and stuff, but no, Michael, right for the liverwurst. I am so proud of that boy. He's nailed it.
If I had to pick one word for Brett, I would have to pick controlling.
Kind and loving. She is very bossy too. Just gonna throw that in there.
Tired.
Brett is an awesome mom. That was the first 2 words that came to my mind.
See, awesome mom, tired. They go together.
They do.
Brett is the oldest child.
Responsible and caring.
Caring, mature.
And I always say that her superpower is learning from other people's mistakes. She's very good at avoiding situations because she's seen other people fall into pitfalls and traps.
Brett's biggest strength, I think, is seeing the big picture and caring about it.
Mason is a people pleaser.
Mason is loyal and caring.
Bossy but caring. Wacky and fun.
Oh.
I'm not sure I have one word that can describe Mason, at least not a nice one.
Weird, witty.
Mason has some incredible skills, particularly in the culinary room, that are really an asset to what we do here.
He likes to think that cooking is what he brings best to the family, but I mean, we did survive for a lot of years before he came along. So I would say his biggest strength that he brings to the family would be the willingness to drop everything and help out when it is needed.
Mason likes to rescue me. And if he thinks that I am not prepared for something or not giving it as much attention as it needs, or if he's worried that I'm going to be overwhelmed by it, he swoops in and tries to take care of all the details so that I don't have to. So he really helps me in many ways that way.
The other thing that Mason is really good at that is an asset to what we do is he loves negotiating. Not so much there are a lot of people in our family that love arguing.
Yeah, no.
But he likes to negotiate, which is different. So so that's a huge skill that he possesses, because that's not my thing, and it's not really your thing.
Well, so it's kind of evolved to where if we have a problem, something breaks, somebody's not doing what they said they were going to do, like a vendor or something, we just give it to Mason because he loves that. He loves going in, he loves trying to get the best deal out of the situation, the end result, and we're just like, have at it.
Yeah,
because we don't want to take care of it.
I got other things to do, but he's really good at that negotiation.
When Brett was about 10 years old, we went to a funeral for someone very special to us. And at the funeral was his grandson, who was 12, and he was so respectful and so polite, but it went beyond that. He was very caring. He was very concerned about how everybody was feeling. You could tell he went out of the way, even though he was devastated by the loss of his grandfather, you could tell he was just as concerned with how others were looking and feeling. And I remember I turned to Brett and I said, I can marry him someday. Never said that about anybody else.
No?
No, he was the only one.
The only one you've ever said that about for any of your kids, not just me, any of the kids.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever given,
So then I married him.
Yeah, how many years later?
10, 11 years later.
Years later, yeah.
I married him.
So I have a gift, what can I say?
So those of you who don't know, we actually used to have bees a long time ago at the old farm. Recently, Sam told me that he had found a swarm in the woods. So I decided that I wanted to colonize it and make it a hive again. So I went out to the woods and I found the hive. So have I always been interested in bees? For a long time, yeah. To catch the swarm, you don't need much. You basically just need gloves. The suit is added protection if you want that, which I did have. I could not find the box of all the tools, but that was not needed for catching the swarm. That was needed to upkeep the hive. So basically you just need tree cutters if they're stuck on a tree and you need that, but basically you just need a brush. No, I've never caught a swarm before. I Googled a quick video about it. I remember reading about it in one of the beekeeping books I read a while back. And so I just refreshed my memory and then just drop them in a box essentially. Yes, so far the swarm has stayed. We got them in the hive and they've stayed in the hive. So we have not gotten any honey from the bees. I do not think we'll be getting any this year or probably next year. Depending on how healthy they are, I probably will let them continue to strengthen their hive before trying to start taking honey from them, and slightly weakening it.
Having thunder over Louisville on the same day as the bachelorette party wouldn't have been a problem, except that we were going literally right down to the water. The place that we had picked for dinner, which was like an O'Shea's Pub, which is Lainey's maiden name, so it's kind of like a play on her last name. So we went there, and it was in Jeffersonville, which is a block away from the river. And so there were crowds everywhere, there were streets closed down, there was no parking. So Jade and I actually had to park like half a mile away and walk in I was wearing heels and a skirt and like a blouse. I was in
flats. I was in flats because I'm smarter, you know. But I was also wearing a skirt. We had to walk through downtown Jeffersonville all by ourselves, and we were like, well, this is fun. But we didn't have to pay for parking.
We did get free parking.
We got free parking. So what we did for all the bachelorettes was, for Ashton, we went and we painted these pieces of wood, and then we like glued these pieces of wood into like a cross, which was really cool, and we got to hang those up on our wall. And then for Lainey's, we went bowling and just had dinner.
Yep, talked, had a lot of girl talk, you know.
Yeah.
Did all the fun things at a bachelorette party.
Getting ready for 2 weddings 2 weeks apart has been kind of crazy, and we still have quite a bit of planning to do, but we do plan on reusing some of the items, so that at least will help us, because it's a lot. Yeah, it's a bunch. So my groomsmen are going to wear tan, I guess slacks is what you call dress pants, and a leather belt, and no shoes, and just a white button-down dress shirt, and that'll be it. Mine, on the other hand, will be in a full, I guess they'll have all of the pieces. Now they're going to be in gray slacks, and then they'll have navy blue jackets with maroon ties, and then black dress shoes and a black belt. And I have still got a big snafu with my jacket because the one I ordered is too small, but they don't have any mediums in stock. So we're just waiting for the company to get the mediums in stock. Right. Hopefully that happens before his wedding. His jacket for my wedding, not his jacket for his wedding, because you're not wearing just that. You're going to be in something I'm going to be same thing as the guys, but I'll wear a jacket over the top, a tan jacket as well. And then I'll be in a full navy suit, a full navy 3-piece suit. Without the maroon tie. Yeah, I'll be in a navy tie. A navy tie as well. So we're both going to use the shirts that we're ordering for Graydon's wedding. So Graydon's wedding is first, and then we're all wearing white shirts. And obviously, all of our brothers are in both of our weddings. So it's kind of like 4 people that will be in both weddings plus the grooms. I guess you're wearing a white for your wedding, right? Yeah. Yeah, and I'm going to wear a white for mine. So all 5 of us Jonas boys are wearing the same shirt for 2 weddings within 2 weeks. Yeah. So we're going to reuse the white shirts, but that's the only thing that we're going to be able to reuse because all of his like sub features are all tan and all of mine are black. So the white shirt is the only thing we're going to get to reuse. Yeah, I could probably wear the same underwear.
As Christians, for us, Easter is about the risen Lord Jesus, and not so much about eggs or bunnies or...
So, and I agree, Easter is about Jesus, but this year, I also dyed eggs. And we don't dye eggs every year, but we dyed eggs this year, and this year, I hid them. This year you dyed a case of eggs. Well, there's a lot of us, so we needed a lot of eggs.
An entire box. How many are in that anyway?
It's 5 dozen, so it's 60 eggs.
Is that all?
It's not that many when, you know, there's 17 of us. We don't normally do Easter egg hunts, but every once in a while I'll do them. And this year I did 2. And my husband was not really excited about me doing 1, let alone 2, but I had a good reason. The little kids, I did have a good reason. Don't look at me like that.
I'm just waiting to hear what the good reason was.
For fun and the memory. And so I went and I bought plastic eggs and I put candy in them, and we hid those nice and easy to find for the little kids. I mean, they were just sitting smack dab in the grass, you know, on the in the garden bed. I mean, they weren't hard to find at all. And so the little kids had their own little baskets and they could go and collect them and do that. And then the fun one was hiding the real eggs for the adults, because that was a challenge, and it was problem solving and analytics, and it was all part of their homeschooling curriculum was, can they rise to the challenge and find all these eggs? They failed.
I understand.
They missed one. Still don't know where it is.
This year we had a birth with 5 babies, which is called quints, and while it may seem very exciting and like a lot of fun, it's always a lot of extra work, and it always means we're gonna have to take special care of those babies. So one night, Ashton and I come back to the farm after I think we were at Bible study, and we come back and there are babies in the pen, and nobody missed them. We looked before we left, and nobody looked like they were gonna deliver, but we were wrong, they delivered. So we go in there and we're like, okay, taking care of the baby, and we turn around and snuggled up against the wall in like this little corner are another 3 babies. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay, this wasn't a single like I thought at first. This is quads. So we have quads being born. And then as we grab them and get them prepped and ready, on the other side of the stall in the other corner, there was another baby. And we were like, quints? What? So at first we were like, okay, these have to be from different goats, because Madonna didn't look anything like her 4 brothers. She was black and white, and then her 4 brothers were all chamoises. They were all brown with black hawks and markings. And we were like, okay, clearly Madonna has to be out of a different one, and these other 4 are quads. So we start looking around to find out, you know, okay, which other mother in this pen could have delivered. But none of the other mothers had delivered. And so it was like, okay, clearly these are quints out of Morocco. So it was kind of exciting and a little bit dramatic in the way that it happened, but we thought for sure that Madonna was not Morocco's kid. Quints are not very common for us. We rarely have them. We have had 3 sets of quints now, but only 2 of those have been, all 5 of them were born alive. One of them was a stillborn, so we only had 4 live kids in that kidding. But it's happened 3 times at this point out of, a few hundred, maybe even a few thousand births at this point. So not very common, but it's always exciting when it happens, and it's always a lot more work when it happens, because I've never met a doe that can take care of the 5 kids super well. So when you have quints, it's going to always end up being a lot of extra work. A lot of times you're going to have to bottle raise multiple of the babies or supplement them, just because it's very rare for the doe to be able to produce enough milk to feed all 5 of her babies. You also end up running into some trouble where you typically don't see them grow as fast as the rest of the kids in the barn, and so when they hit that 2-month period and you have to separate out the males from the females, it can get really difficult, and we have trouble because a lot of times they're not super ready to be weaned at that point.
So I was not there during that birth, but I did come in the next morning and checked on all the goats, and I was like, whoa, there's 1 mom and there's 5 babies in here. So yeah, it was a lot to deal with. We took one of the babies and bottle fed it because she did not have enough milk for all 5 of them. Eventually we had to supplement the other 4 a decent amount as they grew bigger and bigger. She just never had enough milk for all 5. But yeah, it was an experience. They were a lot of fun to raise, and it was cool to be able to see 5 blood siblings just running around with their 1 mom.
Quints and quads being born are never ideal for me on the work end of things. On paper, they're always fun. They always look great. But in general, it turns out to be a lot more worth than it's worth. We're always excited when we do, because it is rare and it's not something that we see a lot. But there's also a part of you that just knows, okay, buckle up. It's gonna be a journey with these ones. she might have just broken her toe the day before her wedding.